earth-shattering hard news. Not that we expected any, but this is a healthy football team. Thankfully, we aren't waiting on a lot of injury updates. It's been a very good camp from that standpoint. He confirmed that holding out Garrett Nussmeier on Saturday was more of a pitch count thing. He wasn't the only player that they held out of what amounted to a dress rehearsal, I think, on Saturday more than a real physical scrimmage. Probably the most interesting thing that I heard that we've talked about it, but to hear him say it in the manner that he did was a little bit interesting. That they plan on playing 8 offensive linemen, and we expected the big rotation on the defensive line, and even in the secondary, we expect to see maybe as many as 8 or 9 defensive backs play in this game. And we know that there is a roving competition at left guard, and that they have worked the freshman Carius Kern in at both tackles and at guard a little bit. But to hear that was eye-catching. And if you're trying to read the tea leaves here a little bit, he did mention Paul Mubenga first at the left guard. Don't know if that means anything. But he also mentioned not just DJ Chester, but Cohen Eccles, who is one of my personal favorites. I think Cohen Eccles has a really, really bright future. I don't know that he's going to mash his way into the lineup in this game or in September, but I do think that he's got starter potential somewhere in the 2025 season, and I feel the same way about Carius Kern. So the fact that, Jimmy, that they are, I don't want to use the word experimenting, but rotating in a game of this magnitude, do you worry about continuity, but you're happy that you got enough players that you feel confident enough to put out there? I mean, you can look at it either way.
Charlie, this is not a surprise to you.
That he's going to play 8 in this game?
No.
Yeah.
Eight to say it, but to say that this is far from a settled line as you enter the season.
No, that doesn't surprise me.
Or 8's a lot. We both kind of. It's not.
I've said, I wrote it on the station survey that I expect the offensive line battles on the interior, really at both guard spots, to continue well into September, and maybe even Kern is a talent that is going to force his way into this lineup at some point. I told somebody at the dinner last night, I said, if we were starting this season a month from now, I think Kern would be in the starting lineup. He just needs, like Emory Jones, just a little bit more time. I think he's going to force his way into a lot of playing time. But I think Eccles is a talent. And I think Mubenga is probably what they consider the safest, my words, not theirs, the safest play, because he started the last 5 games of last year. So it's not going to be a big surprise to him. He played against Alabama last year, so he knows what big-time competition looks like. I'm not going to say he was a standout, but he held his own. So I think he's the safest play for Saturday.
But all these guys individually, but they're trying to also find a best unit.
Yeah.
And that's why offensive lines are always, that's standard to be behind early. You saw that on display, and the only real decent quality matchup that we had on week 0 Saturday, both offensive lines were having all kinds of issues, and they returned more guys intact than LSU did. It's something you're not going to see on the other side of the field. They're not playing 8, that. So you would like to have a Renner win or 2 to kind of get a better idea under real live action to evaluate individually and collectively. But this is the biggest concern spot for LSU going in, and not just this year, period, but in this matchup, 100%.
And they rotated linemen in the bowl game. I know the bowl game doesn't matter.
That group of they ain't the athletes they playing Saturday. You know that.
That's not why I'm bringing it up. I'm bringing it up because there was at least a couple of plays in the bowl game where 2 linemen collided. Okay, they were with the rotation. You don't get that continuity, and mistakes can be made. And if you make a mistake where you got 2 guys pulling in opposite directions, and a defensive lineman gets loose, you get a turnover. If this is a one-score game, that's concerning to me. I'm not saying it's not the best way to go. They got to do something.
I'm just saying that Baylor unit was alarmingly weak.
I'm saying that they could have been
on defense.
I'm saying they
year
could have
in
been
bowl
playing a
game.
high school team, and if the two guards pull and run into each other, it doesn't matter if who they're playing. So yes, who they're playing is a huge concern with these one-on-one matchups. The continuity aspect of it, though, is concerning to me. That's you're just gonna have to live with that because they have been fighting this out for a month now, and they don't have 5 guys or one unit, if you prefer that term, that have separated and said, okay, this is what we got to do. We got to continue to work this. I think the best 5 that they can put out there on Saturday for the first snap are not necessarily the most talented 5 that have the highest upside. Okay, and I'm going to use Kern again. Is Mubenga a better option Saturday? Probably so. Is he going to be a better option a month from now? I don't know that. Same thing with Weston Davis. Same thing with Eccles versus, maybe Josh Thompson is locked in at the right guard. Okay? He's a good player. Is he an all-conference type guy? I don't think so. Okay? Is one of those freshmen potentially, got a really, really high seed? I look at Cohen Eccles and I see a year from now maybe a young Trey Turner. Okay? But not right now. So that's the evolution of this thing. I think that that's the biggest thing that we watch, and how, like you said in the first hour, how Joe Sloan will account for that. I mean, if you get into this first quarter and you find out that one of your guys can't handle one of their guys, then you're going to have to compensate and come in some kind of way.
He's going to compensate before just trying to evaluate that. It's coming out quick.
He's trying to anticipate.
It's coming out quick.
Sure.
It's coming out quick.
What about the
you're
run plays?
You're going to have to really pick your spots. You have to see if you make them get comfortable early on. I mean, I'll be surprised if they're looking for, protection enough to try and throw the ball really downfield. I'd be jumping in routes left and right if I'm a Clemson DB.
You can do that. If you got Barron Brown and Chris Hilton in the game at the same time, and you don't play too high, you're inviting a deep throw. Now, does Nussmeier have enough time to get it down there? I don't know. But you got 2 4-3 guys that can burn you over the top. That was the biggest liability that LSU's offense had for the first, 8 games of last season. They didn't have Hilton. They didn't have anybody who could stretch the defense. And then when they got Hilton back, it took them about 3 games before he was finally acclimated. And then you saw the difference against Oklahoma and in the bowl games. Oh, well, you can run that guy down the field. They got 2 of that guy now. But you got to be able to deliver the ball.
Yeah, 5 of them, Charles. If you can't block, can't get it.
That's just what I just said. You got to get it down there.
You got shots downfield. I'll say the under half in the first quarter.
Oh, in the first quarter, I don't know if you're going to throw any in the first quarter.
Well, we're just talking about anticipating
talking about
doing some things to counter. He's going to start off countering. He ain't going to look for 7-step drops early on.
I'm not going to throw a bomb on the first play of the game. I would probably try to use Clemson's pursuit against them early in the game. Probably try to run a little bit of misdirection. I don't want to line up and run right at this defensive front.
8's a lot to be planning on playing.
Yeah, I agree. Rest of Max?
No, I was just going to say Missouri had a pretty quick and elusive wide receiver in Luther Burden last year.
Yeah.
His average depth of target was very low. I mean, they were throwing at him at like the line of scrimmage. Are we going to see something like that?
Luther Burden was more of such a higher level skill guy than the rest of their roster. So they were, these running plays, design running plays, screens, like you said, a lot of things besides. They would take shots downfield too. Cook could get the ball downfield, but yeah, there were a lot of round the line touches to try and get him the ball in space.
I'm just saying that's maybe what LSU has to think of. A guy like that, just getting it to him, just get it to him in space. That's what Luther Burden was. He did as much speed as he had. He could get downfield. They didn't really use him that way. Much.
Yes. I would. If you're not going to do it in this spot, when are you going to do it? Quality front, first game for line. You don't have figured out his words. If he's playing 8, he doesn't have his top 5, Charlie. Not even close.
No.
So tough game.
He's really got 3.
Road game. Tough place to play. Respected front. Yeah. You're not going to do that this week. Yeah.
Talked about Gabe Relaford at the one defensive end spot. He and Jack Pyburn have locked down those top two spots, but that this is going to speak to the depth a little bit. And I brought up the stat about all the starts that are in the second unit. Patrick Payton, who has been a huge tackle for loss guy at Florida State, is not going to be an every down defensive lineman for them, but this is fresh legs to rush the passer. Max and I were talking, during the press conference, like, how much do you think he's going to play? Passing downs for sure. They can kick Pyburn down. They can bring in Peyton. Not that Relaford's not going to play on some of the passing downs. They can bring in Jamari Butler. This is fresh legs coming off the sideline specifically to rush a passer, and that's not even counting Harold Perkins. It's good to see that Relaford has had a very good camp. Talked a little bit about the pass blocking at the running backs. He says it's better. I'll take him at his word. Am I a little bit concerned about that? Yeah, I'm a little bit concerned about LSU's running back depth, period. I think Caden Durham is a fine back. Do I think of him as an elite pass blocking running back? I do not. Caleb Jackson certainly got the size for it. But every time we've watched him and expected him to take the next step, we're left a little bit wanting. And then, Harlem Berry is still trying, I think, still trying to kind of find his way a little bit. So that's a concern for me. If you're worried about the offensive line pass blocking, I'm worried about the running backs pass blocking. And to be honest with you, I don't think that either of LSU's tight ends are going to remind you of Rob Gronkowski when it comes to pass blocking either. So we got to run block. Excuse me. So we got to see with all of that stuff. They asked about an exhibition game at the end. It's an interesting concept, playing a controlled scrimmage against another team, or even an exhibition game, a preseason game, whatever. That's not really on the table, but I was interested in his thoughts, and he was kind of like, he almost sounded like an NFL coach there. He was like, those pro teams, they're kind of backing away from a whole lot of contact with their main guys in the preseason, although we've seen a little bit more of it this year.
Yeah, that's not what we saw in the preseason games. Maybe the controlled scrimmage or the dual scrimmage.
There's been less of those. Been less of those altogether.
Or more guidelines, because man, if I don't care if it's college or pro, and I'm not an established star, I got to try and when am I going?
That's right.
When am I going to dance?
And you lose a guy.
I'm not trying to take a cheap shot, but I'm trying to get I'm trying to make some plays.
And it could happen in a regular practice, too. The Chargers lost for Sean Slater, the top-paid offensive lineman in the country.
Joe Burrow took a hit from his own team.
That was not planned.
That
was definitely not.
Things happen.
Things happen.
It's
a rough, tough game.
It's a rough, tough game. So they're trying to do. How about Wes Reynolds finishing out the golf season with a nice one? Yeah. People say, I have Fleetwood. I thought he could do it. I think we'd eventually do it. Oh, there's only one. The first name out of his mouth on the Golf Consensus Picks on Wednesday, brought to you by our friends at Dana Brown at the law offices of O.C. Brown. So we shift into football season. Dana will be sponsoring a weekly feature of ours each and every week, but we want to thank him for bringing those golf picks to us each and every week and finishing off with an outright winner in the tournament this past weekend in Atlanta. So, they get in a wreck. What are you going to do? Oh man, so much to do. That's why you call Dana. You get him. He'll set you up with quicker. He'll get you in to see a doctor quicker. Get you in to see a specialist quicker. Do not try and deal with the insurance companies yourself. You'll waste your time, and you're not going to represent yourself properly as well. Dana's going to handle all of that for you as well. So that's what he did with me when I got my car got totaled. Wasn't my fault, but doesn't matter. Still got to go through all this stuff. Dana can help you out with it every step of the way. Just makes it a little bit. It absorbs as much pain as possible. Damage control Dana Brown. That's what we call him. Downtown Dana Brown, 343-1111 at ocbrown.com.
Live at Big Mike's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Attention vehicle owners. Before you trade your transportation, let K&M Automotive give your vehicle a new lease on life.
Say when.
It's rolling.
This is Charles Hanniger. Join us for the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch from Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas. We do first class, second class, no class. And Greg Bowser joins us to preview LSU Clemson. Live at Mike Anderson's, 11 a.m. Tuesday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Some Rufino's. With locations in Baton Rouge and Lafayette, Rufino's is a steak, seafood, and Italian-inspired restaurant that focuses on the celebration of life, regardless of the occasion. Whether it's the food they serve or the service they provide, their goal is to ensure a remarkable experience for their guests that is always remembered. To view our menu, visit Rufino'sRestaurant.com. Rufino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
The Grand Bayou Casino, conveniently located off I-10 at exit 139 in Crozet, offers the latest video poker machines 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And a great staff at the Grand Bayou Casino. Our inviting staff will greet you with complimentary coffee and sodas as you enjoy listening to the curated tunes in our comfortable seating. Make the trip to Grand Bayou Casino, where players are welcome. The Grand Bayou Casino, I-10 at the Crozet exit. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-877-770-STOP. The Grand Bayou Casino.
With all of the financial headlines, are you worried if your retirement savings will last? The market's ups and downs can keep you guessing, especially if you're approaching retirement or considering it. If you have more questions and answers about what's next, let's work together to help ensure you're prepared for your journey. After all, retirement isn't the end of the trek, it's a new beginning. Stop by your local Edward Jones advisor. Tex Morris on Jefferson, Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is Charles Hanniger for Coastal Capital Advisors, your full-service financial planners. When it comes to retirement, there are no two situations alike. So Coastal Capital Advisors will work with you, your business partners, your legal team, and tax professionals to make sure those goals are achieved. Coastal Capital Advisors will work for you. I know, because they work for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his great staff at 337-981-1376 or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, LLC, doing business as Coastal Capital Advisors as a registered investment advisor. Securities offered through New Age Securities, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC.
Louisiana, you've got a new home for coverage of LSU, the New Orleans Saints, and the Southeastern Conference. LouisianaSports.net. LouisianaSports.net. Feature stories, opinion columns, recruiting updates, in-game reports. And it's all free. No paywalls, no annoying pop-up ads, no recurring subscriptions. Just the content you crave. From the folks that bring you 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, it's LouisianaSports.net. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Big Mike's Sports Bar and Grill in Denham Springs on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Cut deadline is tomorrow in the NFL, but it's going to get down to 53 tomorrow afternoon. The Saints, 14 transactions today, the most notable of which is that Cam Akers, the veteran running back, has been released. It's going to be close if Clyde Edwards-Helaire makes his team. I think he should, but I think it's going to be close. I think Kamara, Miller, and Devin Neal are all going to make the team, and I think the next guy, is it going to be Velus Jones or is it going to be Clyde Edwards-Helaire? I think that's going to be close, but Cam Akers is out of the mix there. Thanks to the folks here at Big Mike's, again, open late after high school football. Live music every weekend. DJ Preston Wallace for the LSU Clemson game this Saturday starting at 6 o'clock. Happy hour drink prices all day on Sunday for the NFL, and a great lunch crowd here too. For Max, for Jimmy, and for Jordan back in the studio, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
At Town Square Pizza, we take pride in serving Baton Rouge.